Hello, my lovely listeners. I'd like to open this video with a heartfelt thank you to three amazing women. Courtney Hayes from Lexington, Kentucky, Vanessa Price from Reno, Nevada, and Tiffany Sanders from Augusta, Georgia. Your support truly keeps these stories alive. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because if you're not subscribed, YouTube may not show you the ending of this video. So tell me, what city are you listening from right now? Her fingers grazed the edge of his shirt, collar, and for a moment, the bustling world beyond the glass doors faded into silence. "You can't keep eyeing my mouth like that," she murmured, her words a soft thread in the empty corridor of the office building. "If you stare any longer, I'll lose track of why we're even here." The air between them crackled with unspoken tension, heavy as a summer storm about to break. At 42, Christopher Hayes hadn't imagined this turn in his life. Widowed for 4 years, sole guardian to his 11-year-old daughter, Mia, and now poised on the threshold of an interview that could rewrite their fragile routine. The role of creative director at Summit Dynamics wasn't merely employment. It promised security, predictable hours, and the luxury of attending Mia's soccer games without the relentless grind of his patchwork consulting gigs. He'd been fiddling with his necktie for what felt like the umpteenth time, his palms damp with nerves, when Victoria Reed, the company's founder and CEO, appeared from around the bend. He knew her face from industry profiles and corporate sites, poised, sharp-eyed, with an aura that cut through superficiality. At 39, she'd transformed Summit from a fledgling venture into a powerhouse in tech solutions. "Christopher Hayes, I presume," she said, offering a steady handshake. Her touch was assured, businesslike. "Your resume caught the team's eye. Impressive track record." "Thank you for considering me, Ms. Reed," he replied, acutely, conscious of how the suit hung on him after years of casual attire. The knot at his throat felt constricting. She angled her head, observing. "Your tie's off kilter. Allow me?" Without awaiting a nod, she closed the distance, her scent, a faint blend of citrus and something earthier, wafting subtly. Her fingertips adjusted the fabric with precision, smoothing what anxiety had twisted. "These initial meetings can rattle anyone," she noted, her tone gentler now. "But I went over your submissions myself. You're not here by chance." Christopher found himself truly seeing her, not as the daunting executive holding his future, but as someone whose quiet assurance eased the knot in his chest. His gaze wandered to her lips as she continued speaking. That's when she halted, her eyes locking onto his. "You can't keep eyeing my mouth like that," she murmured, fingers lingering at his collar. "If you stare any longer, I'll lose track of why we're even here, with your panel starting in minutes." The session unfolded smoother than he'd dared hope, the earlier spark notwithstanding. Christopher articulated his vision for Summit's branding evolution with fervor, pulling from a decade of diverse projects and the innovative edge honed by necessity. When he touched on reshaping his life post-widowhood to prioritize Mia, he caught a subtle shift in Victoria's demeanor, a fleeting warmth in her otherwise composed features. 3 days on, the offer came via phone. The compensation exceeded expectations, and the adaptable timetable meant he'd be there for Mia's after-school arrivals most weeks. He accepted without hesitation, burying recollections of Victoria Reed's touch, her hushed caution resonating like a distant melody. Life at Summit proved invigorating, a blend of demands and triumphs. Christopher immersed himself in overhauling the firm's outreach, yielding tangible gains within quarters. His exchanges with Victoria stayed confined to group huddles, both upholding impeccable decorum. If their glances occasionally lingered, it went unspoken. Mia blossomed under the newfound steadiness. For the first since her mother's departure, she had a dad unburdened by perpetual fatigue or midnight deadlines. She enrolled in art classes and forged bonds with peers. Christopher cherished their twilight hours, aiding with assignments, preparing meals, absorbing her daily tales. The scar of absence endured, yet it no longer overshadowed their days. 7 months into the eye, roll. Christopher lingered late, polishing a pitch for a key account. The floors had cleared long before. He massaged his weary temples, archiving the document before arching back in his chair. "Time to head to your girl." Victoria's voice floated from the threshold. Christopher jolted mildly. "Ms. Reed, I thought everyone had left." "Victoria, after dark," she corrected, entering with her usual grace intact despite the marathon day. "The Harlan proposal," he explained, gesturing to his screen. "Just refining it." "I've been intending to say your contributions have surpassed projections," she remarked, perching on his desk's edge, nearer than protocol had permitted since their first encounter. "The executives are thrilled." "Appreciate that, especially from you. How's Mia faring with the shift?" The inquiry caught him off guard. "Thriving, actually. She's crafting a diorama of ancient Rome for History Day next month. Our den resembles a museum dig site." Victoria's chuckle was warm, easing the lines of her face. "Those were my favorites growing up. My dad was absent for them, buried in work. Mom salvaged them at the 11th hour. I'm aiming not to repeat that," Christopher confessed. "The leeway here is invaluable." Her features altered subtly. "Dad forged a legacy, but at the cost of my youth. I vowed Summit would foster balance, that achievement wouldn't demand such tolls." The disclosure lingered, unveiling layers beyond her public persona. Christopher grasped how surface level his knowledge of her was. "Want to glimpse it?" he offered, fishing out his phone for Mia's progress shots. "Of her creation, I mean." Victoria leaned in as he navigated, her arm brushing his, reigniting that initial fragrance. He located the image, Mia beaming next to a partially built Colosseum. "She shares your determination," Victoria observed quietly. "Her mom's spirit, though." Christopher's voice carried the habitual pang when evoking Laura. Victoria's eyes met his. "The loss must weigh heavily." "Daily," he admitted, "but it evolves. Not lighter, just reshaped. Mia anchors me." "How did it happen?" Victoria ventured, then paused. "Forgive me, that's intrusive." "No, it's fine," he assured, meaning it. "An accident, car crash on a rainy night. Sudden, no farewell." Victoria's palm rested over his on the desktop, a grounding warmth. "My father went last spring. Stroke, out of nowhere." "I'm sorry," Christopher said, inverting his hand to clasp hers. They dwelled in that mutual quiet, bridged by sorrow. "Care for tea sometime?" Victoria proposed abruptly. "Away from the office." Christopher's pulse surged. "I'd enjoy that." Their inaugural outing stretched 4 hours, delving into literature, journeys, the voids left by departed loved ones, anything but business. Victoria recounted a childhood shadowed by a dad, present in body, but absent in spirit, fueling her ethos for a humane workplace. Christopher narrated his fumbling start as a lone parent, the blunders and quiet wins. "Mia quizzed if it was a date when I headed out," Christopher shared as they strolled back. Victoria arched a brow. "Your response?" "Honest. Meeting my superior, unsure of the label." She grinned. "And her verdict?" Quoth she, "Dad, uncertainty means you're off track already." Victoria's mirth rang clear. "Wise beyond years." "Sometimes overly so," he concurred. "She vetoed my grey tie, said it aged me like her coach." They paused at the entrance, reluctance evident. "So," Christopher ventured, "date or not?" Victoria's smile deepened. "Your girl's spot on. Doubt signals the truth." Their bond unfolded deliberately, mindfully. Teas evolved to suppers, timed around Mia's commitments. Victoria opted for neutral venues, vigilant about propriety given her position. At work, they embodied professionalism, interactions crisp and focused. 4 months post-initial brew, Christopher extended an invite to Mia's art showcase. A milestone, her debut encounter with his child. Certain? Victoria queried. It's pivotal. Mia's inquired about you, he revealed, curious about who sparks my grins at messages. The event buzzed with families and youthful energy. Mia stood sentinel by her watercolor series, themes of urban landscapes she'd sketched with pride. Dad, she hailed, spotting him. Her gaze widened at Victoria. Her, she mouthed dramatically. Christopher flushed. Mia, meet Victoria. Victoria, my daughter Mia. Stories abound about you, Victoria said, shaking hands solemnly, eliciting Mia's snicker. Your pieces are striking. Thanks. Dad framed them, but colors are all mine. Did you know blue pigment once cost more than gold? Ultramarine, Victoria affirmed. I painted a Renaissance scene in my youth. Mia's interest piqued. Win? Third, Victoria conceded. A girl with a kinetic sculpture stole the show. Wind-powered. Mia chortled, then confided. Dad says you're brilliant, runs everything. Your dad's no slouch, Victoria countered. He's boosted us immensely. Mia pondered, then bluntly. You into Dad? Like, romantically? Mia, Christopher interjected, chagrined. It's fine, Victoria assured, holding Mia's stare. Yes, very much. That all right? Mia appraised her. Mom's gone, she stated plainly. I know, Victoria responded tenderly. Mine too. It's tough. Mia bobbed her head, a silent accord forming. Dad scorched toast thrice last week. Cooking's not his forte. Hey now, Christopher feigned offense. I'm reservation savvy myself, Victoria admitted. Mia tittered, then sobered. He mopes when he thinks I'm oblivious. Christopher's breath hitched. He'd underestimated her perceptiveness. You likely do the same, Victoria said softly. That's normal, part of cherishing memories. Mia concurred gravely. Visit my studio sometime. Mom's sketches are there. The gesture carried profound weight, and Victoria grasped it. I'd cherish that, she replied, emotion threading her words. Victoria and Mia forged their unique tie apart from her dynamic with Christopher. They connected via stories and crafts, Victoria ever respectful of Laura's place, carving her own niche. Christopher often discovered them conspiring, chortling over designs or debating palette choices with earnest fervor. 8 months past the showcase, Christopher orchestrated supper adeptly, defying Mia's jabs when Victoria arrived for their weekly ritual. Aromas divine, she greeted, pecking his cheek. Dad's on stir-fry. Duty, Mia proclaimed from the dining area, arranging utensils. His safe bet. Impressive endorsement, Victoria teased. The meal brimmed with ease, Mia steering chatter with classroom anecdotes and vacation daydreams. Post-dinner, she retreated for a video call, granting Christopher and Victoria solitude amid cleanup. I've a query, Christopher announced, sudsing plates. Weighty tone, Victoria bantered, nudging him lightly. Indeed. He toweled off, retrieving a slim case from his jacket. Carried this a fortnight, seeking the ideal instant. Victoria's motions froze. Christopher. He unveiled a graceful band, understated, yet luminous. I adore you, Victoria. Mia does too. We crave your permanence formally. Work dynamics shift, she noted, though transfixed. HR's briefed on reorgs, board's informed. You approached my board? Wanted propriety, he affirmed. No shadows. Ever meticulous, she whispered, withdrawing from the sink, patting dry deliberately. Affirmative? His heart thrummed. Question pending, she jested, voice wavering. Christopher knelt, presenting the ring. Victoria Reed, marry me? Join us? Yes, she breathed, eyes glistening. To all. As the band slid home, a soft inhale sounded from the hall. Mia hovered, agog. You proposed? She accepted? In on it. Victoria chuckled, misty-eyed. Dad consulted me first. Team package. Affirmed ages ago. What delayed? Christopher enfolded Mia in their circle. Jitters, he owned. Told you she'd. Consent, Mia asserted. She mirrors your gaze. And that's? Victoria probed. Mia grimaced. Sappy, like rom-com's Uncle Mark binges. Laughter enveloped them, this nascent clan solidifying. Their nuptials were understated, in a riverside park echoing an early rendezvous. Mia doubled as ring-bearer and junior attendant, embodying gravity. Her toast lauded Victoria for reviving Dad's joy in acing geometry, since Dad bungles decimals. Patterns reformed, a spacious home equidistant from Mia's. Classes in Summit's hub. Christopher ascended to strategy lead, answering to oversight, preserving ethics. Rituals emerged. Weekend brunches, bi-weekly game evenings, autumn hikes. Hiccups arose, Mia's pangs for her mom, guilt-tinged affection for Victoria. Christopher's occasional contrasts of partnerships, pondering Laura's blessing. Victoria's calibration of zeal with familial duties. Yet candor prevailed. Trials met united, forging beauty from fragments. A year hence that corridor spark. Where Victoria aligned his tie, they revisited the spot in Summit's refreshed wing. Recall? Christopher inquired, tweaking her jacket pre-stakeholder summit. Indelible, she beamed. You quivered. Petrified, he avowed. Beyond the chat, of the spark from your contact. She mirrored the gesture, fingers at his neckwear. Now, mere gratitude, for renewals, our woven kin. You can't keep eyeing my mouth like that, she echoed softly. Else I'll claim it here, agendas be damned. Christopher grinned, bridging the gap for a kiss. Some moments merit delay. Fate rarely aligns with blueprints. It may strip away treasures, compelling reconstruction from embers. Yet with courage to embrace vulnerability, it bestows novelties, not substitutes, but fresh splendors. Christopher and Victoria unearthed that, nurturing a tapestry of love, resilient and profound.